Morning, Governor Soludo reassures on delivering quality infrastructural projects that can stand the test of time. Mkpo community lauds UNICEF and Anambra State government on medical outreach for victims of 2022 flood disaster. Federal government yet to harmonize palliative measures with states for subsidy removal. From the foreign scenes, Japan, South Korea agree on cooperation to counter regional security challenges. Before the news in detail, here's a special message. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's give him maximum support for the task ahead. Good morning and welcome to the news. My name is Uchechukwu Ebonam. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has inaugurated the construction work on the Abia flyover, which coincided with his 1 year in office. Government House correspondent Ejika Bana reports that the project is a fulfillment of his promise that's contained in the People's Manifesto.
Explained that the activities of the old Agwata Union holds in Ekulobia, entailing that it is the capital, which he regretted has become a shadow of itself. The governor pointed out that the contractor had been given 30% of the mobilization fund. The governor, who added that the road infrastructure project embarked upon by his administration has a minimum guarantee of 20 years lifespan, said that Anambra deserves better.
Ekulobia bụ capital line. I get bidonu there ka ọ dị ka anyị nye sample etu o kwesịrị ịdị Anambra nene esi na ọ dị mma were bụrụzie wee jewe replicate wi ebe ndị ọzọ bụ mana a ga-edozie maka etu ọ dị tata ọ gakwu ọ dịla etu a lụọ 10 years lụọ 20 years wee lụọ 30 years mmadụ amana aga ebe aga uno kweletua ife anyị na-alụ na Anambra wụ 1:1 ọ bụrụ ilo ka a na-alụ nke alụọla ọkwụrụ gbam alụsịa ya 20 years guarantee bụ ife anyị na-enye minimum of 20 years guarantee. Ndị na-anya ọkada, ndị na-anya keke, ndị na-anya moto unu enwe ụzọ unu si aga kwụsị na-eje mechanic every week.
The Commissioner for Works, Engineer Ifeanyi Ukoma, in his speech disclosed that a first modern bus terminal will be built in the location with a capacity to accommodate 100 buses, while 4 kilometers of road will be constructed around it, among others, stressing that it will be an architectural masterpiece when completed in the next 18 months.
Flyover, yes, Uzonanka, where cafe, 2 years ago, all the 300 meters. The length of the 300 meters, the height is by 5.4 meters. First modern bus terminal in Anambra State, that will contain more than 100 buses, much more than 100 buses. I now look at a filling station within the bus terminal. I look some security buildings. I look fire stations. This is what we want to do here. And I may say about all our DJ, neighbor also. I will upload the flyover card in Okamba. Flyover the man and cause all the. It will be an architectural masterpiece. All of them are proud of.
Speaking earlier, the Transition Committee Chairman of Fuagwata Local Government Area, Dr. Chibike Ofobike, appreciated the governor for initiating such gigantic structure and expressed optimism that it is the beginning of better things to come to the area. A party chieftain in the area, Chief Titus Anabogu, pledged their support to the governor. Chief of Staff to the governor, Mr. Ernest Ezajori, wife of the governor, Mrs. Nonye Soludo, traditional rulers, stakeholders in Agwata, among others, attended the event. The governor later took a trip to Ekulobia Township Stadium, slated for construction by his administration.
The Speaker, Anambra State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Uche Okafor, says Governor Chukwuma Soludo has made history by being the first governor in Nigeria to embark on massive employment of the citizenry in less than 1 year in office. We have details.
The Speaker, Anambra State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Uche Okafor, says Governor Chukwuma Soludo has made history by being the first governor in Nigeria to embark on massive employment of the citizenry in less than 1 year in office. In his congratulatory message to Governor Soludo on behalf of the state legislature as he marks 1 year in office, Right Honorable Okafor noted that the governor has changed the wrong policy of offering employment to the people towards the end of governor's tenure by employing over 5,000 teachers and 300 health workers in his first year in office. The speaker, who described Governor Soludo as an experienced public servant and prudent manager of resources, expressed satisfaction with the manner as he continued to channel the state resources in useful ventures and services, which he said has resulted in enthroning good governance in the state. He maintained that the State House of Assembly under his watch has resolved to continue to work harmoniously with Governor Soludo, having seen the manifestation of his development effort in all sectors, especially in road infrastructure, health care system, environmental sanitation, security of lives and property, among others. Right Honorable Okafor called on the people of the state to give maximum support to Governor Soludo in his efforts to move the state to greater heights. The state's #1 lawmaker called for fervently prayers from religious bodies in the state, as well as total support of the citizenry to enable Governor Soludo continue to perform optimally even in the remaining years of his tenure.
The State INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner, Dr. Queen Elizabeth Agwo, has reiterated the Commission's readiness to conduct a hit-free and credible election in the 30 constituencies of the state. Dr. Agwo, who gave the assurance in a press conference at the INEC headquarters in Oka, confirmed that the election was held as scheduled and that the Commission had yesterday distributed all sensitive and non-sensitive materials in all the 21 local government areas of the state. Our political correspondent, Stella Ibuka, was there and now reports.
The state INEC boss, who was flanked by other national officers deployed to the state for the exercise, said that all logistics have been put in place to facilitate free and fair polls in Anambra State. She disclosed that the Commission has taken cognizance of previous challenges witnessed during the last election, promising that beavers have been configured for optimal performance. According to her, INEC has already provided adequate supervisory group to monitor, maintain, and professionally handle challenges if need be. She therefore urged Anambra to come out en masse to vote for the candidates of their choice, while assuring them that their votes must count. Asked those with temporary PVC receipts not to bother coming out, since it will not be accepted during the voting exercise. Dr. Agwo further advised all INEC and ad hoc staff assigned for election duty to strictly uphold the tenet and stipulated guidelines, assuring that all materials, including original result sheets, are made available and must be used for the purpose. She also advised candidates contesting for the election to comport themselves and never come out to heat up the polity. Dr. Agwo warned that INEC will not tolerate any form of thuggery or the use of any political incriminating tools in the voting centers, disclosing that they have already deployed security personnel to all the 5,720 polling units across the state ahead of the exercise and will not fail to prosecute any electoral offender. The state INEC commissioner, while thanking the media for giving the exercise necessary publicity and on their number for their usual support and cooperation, promised to justify the confidence reposed in her team.
I beg the public to ensure that all they needed to vote is given to them. Please, SPOs, POs, APOs, give them the ballot paper, use the resource sheets given to you. Anambra State is giving enough ballot papers and enough resource sheets. Contribute your quota. INEC has done its bit to make sure that this election is credible, free, and fair.
From INEC headquarters, Oka, Stella Ibuka, reporting for ABS News.
Victims of 2022 flood disaster in Mbono, Idemili North local government area, have expressed satisfaction with the ongoing medical outreach being carried out by United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, and the Anambra State government in the community. We have details.
Speaking to ABS at Model Primary Health Care Facility at Umusioma, Mkpouno, the officer in charge of the health facility, Mrs. Grace Anyakora, said the intervention program has afforded members of the community the opportunity to receive medical services including cervical cancer screening, immunization and issuance of mama kits to pregnant women free of charge. This, according to Mrs. Anyakora, is to elevate the sufferings of the flood victims and commended UNICEF and the state government for the intervention, adding that 85 persons received medical attention from the team. Also speaking, a medical practitioner, Dr. Peter Wangene, said he was impressed with the turnout of people and commended UNICEF and the state government for their kind gesture, noting that there is need to extend medical outreach to other communities. One of the beneficiaries of the health scheme, Mrs. Rosemary Nwafo, who was screened for cervical cancer, said the medical outreach test afforded women the opportunity to undergo different types of medical tests, stressing that since the program will last for 6 months, there is need for women to avail themselves of the opportunity provided by the outreach to receive quality health care, while praying God to bless the organizers of the medical outreach. A pregnant woman, Mrs. Chidema Okpai, who was presented with mama kits, commended the preference given to women and children by UNICEF, while encouraging women to register for antenatal program to enable them benefit from UNICEF interventions.
Banks, filling stations, petty traders and commercial bus traders in Oka have started accepting the old 1,000 and 500 naira notes from the public in compliance with the Supreme Court ruling that the old naira notes remain a legal tender until the 31st December 2023. Correspondent Chukwemeka Modelim reports.
Few days ago, the central bank directed commercial banks to start giving out the old notes to their customers and accept deposits of such currencies in compliance with the Supreme Court order. A visit to First Bank and Access Bank along Enugu-Onitsha Expressway showed many of their customers under canopies and in queues waiting to withdraw the old naira notes from their accounts and make deposits of the old naira notes. Commenting on the development after withdrawing the old 500 naira note from his bank account, Mr. Stephen Obiora expressed gratitude to the Supreme Court for delivering Nigerians from the hardship they were subjected to in the last 1 month as a result of ban on the use of the old 1,500 naira notes by the central bank. He lamented that he faced difficulties as he had no access to cash to discharge his daily activities and urged the central bank to ensure that the old notes are in circulation to ease the sufferings of the people.
I was a family, even when I'm Jikuya Jafia, local market, or Jagotase, defending Afia. So, I'm not a tabu when I in fact. So, to I would have a bit of me, Masena, nobody.
Checks on filling stations, keke riders, and petty traders in Oka also showed that they have started accepting the old notes from commuters who were seen paying for their transportation costs with the old notes. In his reaction, a commercial bus driver, Mr. Chidebere Omeje, said that he started collecting the old 1,500 naira notes from his passengers after filling stations begun to accept it from him. He noted that the development has brought relief to him as his business has suffered the central bank monetary policy.
Because small one at the end of the day, we need to so I know no work. The man again will changes.
Okay. On her part, a petite trader, Mrs. Ebere Okafor, said she has been recording business boom since last Tuesday. She started collecting the old currencies, even though her business suffered setbacks when there was ban on the use of the old notes, as she had no access to cash. In Oka, Chukwuemeka Modelem, ABS News.
Federal government says it is yet to harmonize efforts with states to set up palliative measures ahead of the June 2023 deadline for the discontinuation of petrol subsidy. It, however, said concerned committees will soon conclude discussions with key stakeholders as administration winds down. The Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Mr. Clem Agba, disclosed shortly after the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. A committee led by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, OSAN, and the National Economic Council, composed of state governors, had been working to resolve the issue for over 12 months. According to him, during the period, the committee is yet to harmonize its templates. The minister argued that while the Professor Osinbajo-led committee has no definite timeline to conclude its assignment, discussions were ongoing. Mr. Abba explained that a delay is necessary because the situation has far-reaching consequences for the nation. From the foreign scenes, the leaders of Japan and South Korea were all smiles as they agreed to put a century of difficult history to one side and work together to counter regional security challenges. The Tokyo summit between South Korea's Yoon Sung-ho and Japan's Fumio Kishida in the first visit to Japan by South Korean president in 12 years highlighted how the two United States allies have been brought closer by North Korea's frequent missile launches and growing concern over China's massive assertive positioning on the international stage. Just hours before Yoon arrived in Tokyo, North Korea test-fired a banned intercontinental ballistic missile, the latest in a series of launches over the past week. The two leaders bonded over food and reached an agreement on some contentious issues, agreeing to revive regular bilateral visits and resume the security dialogue suspended in 2018. Yoon declared the complete normalization of an intelligence sharing pact known as Jesomir, which Seoul had threatened to pull out of in 2019. They also announced an end to an almost 4-year trade dispute over some high-tech materials used for semiconductors. From the world of sports, Super Eagles and Napoli striker Victor Osimhen says he is optimistic that his Italian side can go all the way to the final of the Uefa Champions League and win. Speaking after the post-match, Osimhen, who expressed joy at the brace he scored, said that he excitedly to have been part of the historic Napoli side, noting that they will take every game step by step. The Italian Serie A side qualified for the quarterfinal of the competition for the first time after they became German Bundesliga side Eintracht Frankfurt over the two legs. A 20-year-old police constable, Emmanuel Ozoje, who was among the 4 officers gruesomely murdered by a known gunman at Awada police station on 20th February 2023, has been laid to rest at his father's compound, Eziama village, Nokwa community, in the South local government area of Anambra State. The burial was characterized by emotions and wailing by colleagues, friends, and relations. Correspondent Emmanuel Chibata reports.
The young officer, whose parents were based in Lagos, had already purchased the Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board JAMB form for his further studies when the call to join in salvaging his fatherland compelled him to join the police force. Constable Emmanuel Ozoje just passed out from Police College Oji River in Enugu State December last year and was posted to Awada police station as his first duty call. It was gathered that he had not received his first salary as a police officer before he was gunned down
in active service. Family members, friends, and colleagues were engulfed in grief as the deceased was committed to Mother Earth. Officers of the Nigerian police force were equally on ground to pay their final respect to one of their fallen colleagues. The requiem mass for the deceased took place at his father's compound, where Reverend Father Collins Ogbanu in his sermon said that the life of every mortal on earth depends on God. Reverend Father Ogbanu, who described the death of the deceased as very painful, consoled the family and urged them not to wail as if there is no longer hope. Reverend Father Emmanuel Emenu, who officiated the mass, regretted the high level of killings in the society, including security personnel, and urged the people not to see police as their enemies, but as those whose duty is to protect lives and property. Speaking on behalf of the police, Mr. Fide Utoko, attached to Anambra State Police Command, consoled the deceased family and regretted the unfortunate incident that led to the death of the young police officer who lost his life to the men of the underworld. Stating that police is known for peace, Inspector Utoko wondered why police stations and officers would always be attacked, noting that such acts does not add value to the development of the nation.
In the hand of him, I believe he is in the hand of God, because as Christians we have faith. After death there is the resurrection, and somebody who took somebody's life, because in 1999 Constitution, Section 33, we have right to life. He is entitled to both civilian and policemen.
Cousins to the deceased, Mr. Chinedu Ozojie and Mr. Keneshuku Ozojie, said their brother's death is still like a movie to them, describing him as a very vibrant and brilliant officer.
Efulanya is a promising young guy with a great future ahead. Very humble. He has a lot of bright future ahead of him. But unfortunately, this is how we see it. There's nothing we can do about it.
Now, even till now that he's in the ground, it still looks like a movie, generally. Like, we still don't believe it. It's tragic, very tragic. So I pray and hope that he is accepted into the kingdom of God.
Emmanuel Chibata for ABS News.
May his gentle soul rest in perfect peace. Moving on, remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS TV from any part of the world by liking our Facebook page at ABS Radio Television Oka. Go on to subscribe to our YouTube channel at ABS Television Oka. You can also follow us on Instagram at ABS Radio TV. Log on to our website at www.absradiotv.com. And now the main points that made the news this morning. Governor Soludo has reassured on delivering quality infrastructural projects that can stand test of time. Mbono community has lauded UNICEF and Anambra State government on medical outreach for victims of 2022 flood disaster. Federal government is yet to harmonize palliative measures with states for subsidy removal. And finally, from the foreign things, we told you that Japan, South Korea have agreed on cooperation to counter regional security challenges. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's give him maximum support for the task ahead. That's all of the news this morning. My name is Uchechukwu Ebonam. Be good.